Hi ladies and gentlemen, Ian Walton here from Colour in Your Life UK. We're here today with Jonathan Brier. Hi Jonathan.
Hi.
Jonathan featured recently in a Colour in Your Life video, and that was sponsored by Hobbycraft, and we're here today to shoot a little short clip on a tip from Jonathan for Hobbycraft. So over to you, Jonathan.
Hey there. Yeah, so what we're going to do today is basically going to show you how I prime my board. It's simple, but it's the starting point for everybody. So if you don't use board canvas, then this is how you can go about it. First thing, I tend to use MDF. You can use all sorts of board, but this is great. You can get it cut at your home base or wherever, cut it yourself if you want. And I use basic acrylic gesso. I paint in oils. You can paint over that in oils, or you can paint in acrylic. Don't paint it on top of oils, that's bad. So basically, I've got a little bit of my gesso out. I'd usually be using a bigger board than this, but this is for the demonstration purposes. You can add a little bit of water to your gesso if you want to make it slicker. But what I want to do today is show you two things. Firstly, I like to get a nice weave. You can put gesso on as you like, but the way I paint, I like to get an almost faux canvas. So what I'll do is, my first layer, I'll just scrub it on. So I've got it thin, because I want it to adhere in first. But then as that goes on, I'll just thicken it up slightly, put a bit more on. And what I'll do is I'll drag just one of these cheap kitchen sponges, just drag it straight across, try and get it even. And what you'll see there is, you just start to get a straight line. So what I'll do is, I'll do a whole board, I'll get it all on, I'll make it go one direction, I'll let that dry, I won't sand anything at this point, then I'll come back and I'll go in the opposite direction. I might scrub out, but I'll go in the opposite direction, and basically, after about 5 or 6 of these, you'll start to get, if you can see here, this is a little bit thicker, this one, but you'll start to get a thicker weave. In between each maybe 2 or 3 layers, I'll do a really fast sand, just loosely, just to get rid of the grit. And when you're doing this, you'll notice that the next layer of acrylic gesso goes on a lot easier, it'll go on a lot slicker. So I'll brush that off, I'll use a cloth or whatever.
So what grade of sandpaper are you using there, Jonathan? I
use like a 180. I don't get too fussed about stuff like that. These are things that you play with and you'll get to do it yourself, you'll learn. But yeah, I want the texture in. So what you'll see is, once you actually start to apply paint, you'll start to see here, this is one that I've rubbed in with paint and then cleaned off. Just as you rub off, you can see where the grain actually is in that, and if you can see that picking up very well. But that's the first thing I like to do. Once that's dried, the next step, and this is something I've started to do recently, I'll add, because I work in oils and I like to work on the same surface, what I'll do is I'll add some Alkyd white early on. So I'll just cover my whole board in like an Alkyd white. Now I'll only scrub this in. You can put it on with your sponge, but it makes it so much more difficult. If you just scrub this in, it can take quite a while if you're doing a big panel. But what this does is, it means that when you first start to paint, that'll take longer to dry. That'll take 6-8 hours, maybe even a day, depending on how thick you put it on. But it means that when you start to paint, you've got a much more similar surface. You've got the same sort of surface you'll be painting on. And it also means you can be more rough. It'll save the weave that I've created there. So I can work a lot harder into that than I could if it was just the gesso. That's my 2 basic rules for priming the board. You can see, this is the painting I did for a Colour in Your Life. And you can just see where I scrub out, and I scrub pretty hard. I find that I do go back to the board quite a lot. It just adds a little bit of texture rather than the overworked smooth. So it just adds a little bit of life to a painting. And that's how I go about gessoing a board.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Jonathan. And we look forward to seeing more of your stuff soon.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.